Hello guys and gals, and welcome. So today I'd like to go over with you something very interesting, which is the drop rate of uniques. Or more specifically, a tier list of the drop rate of uniques. Which uniques are very common, and which unique items are very difficult to get. Now, you should be able to figure this out sort of on your own as you go along, but I want to kind of like highlight specifically which uniques I feel like have been how do I put this? Extremely common. And to do so, I compiled a list of various, people's drops, things like that. I even managed to get my hands on a weighted list, which confirmed all of my suspicions that some of the uniques are just much more common than others. So what is this list? Well, basically, it's a unique drop rarity list, and I'm going to go over this with you. So first off, let's talk about unique items. So we've got tons of different unique items in the game. There's things like Howl from Below. I've got a little storage here. We've got things like Mother's Embrace. We've got Frostburn Gauntlets. We've got the Ring of Mendeln. We have, things like the Fists of Fate, right? We've got the Fists of Fate. We've got Blood Artisan Curios. We've got Razor Plate, so forth and so on. And as you go along, you got all sorts of different unique items, even things like Black River, Bloodless Scream, Temerity, and maybe you're trying to get your hands on something like Penitent Greaves, or you want yourselves a Greaves of the Empty Tomb, or maybe you want your a better Mother's Embrace, whatever it may be. Maybe you want a Death Speaker's Pendant. There's literally hundreds of different uniques. I've also got the Deathless Visage. I've even got Vasily's Prayer, Cowl of the Nameless, all sorts of crazy uniques, right? So we've got all sorts of uniques, but what is the tier list for these uniques, and how does the drop chance on these uniques change depending on, like, what you want to find? Well, I have a list. That's right, I have a list. So, ultra common. All right, we're going to start with ultra common. So the ultra common uniques are actually the uniques that have the easiest time dropping, and you will probably see a ton of these as you try to farm some of the more rare uniques. The ultra common uniques include things like Condemnation Dagger, Ramalandi's Magnum Opus, Bloodless Scream, Staff of the Endless Rage, Staff of Lamasem, Fields of Crimson, 100,000 Steps, Asu's Heirloom, Rage of Haragoth, Mad Wolf's Glee, Insatiable Fury, Blood Artisan's Curios, which, if you've been following my streams, you'll know that I found 12 of those so far, which was ridiculous. And many people have been reporting to me specific uniques that they have been finding multiple of. I'm pretty sure at this point, Leon has found like 15 Fields of Crimson. Howl from Below, Grasp of Shadow, Vasily's Prayer, which I found 3 of so far. I haven't even been playing my druid that much. Deathless Visage, which I have found 3 of as well. Eyes of the Dark, Iceheart Brise, and Hunter Zenith. These are all in the extremely common set of uniques. These are the ones that you are going to find all the time, and there's no reason to hang on to them because it feels like they drop literally all the dang time from whatever class-specific character you're on. I wouldn't worry too much. I would actually try and find yourself a perfect one if you want to use it, and then just move on with your life, because quite honestly, it seems like these things are so common that you're going to always have one of these available to you at some point or another. Now, moving on to the common uniques. These are the ones that are not ultra common, but they are more common than the others, or more common than a lot of the other uniques that we're going to be going over later. The Butcher's Cleaver, Waxing Gibbous, Ancient's Oath, Skyhunter, Windforce, the Great Staff of the Crone, Battle Trance, Death Speaker's Pendant, Penitent Greaves, Greaves of the Empty Tomb, Raiment of the Infinite, Goer's Devastating Grips, Frostburn Gloves, Gloves of the Illuminator, and Mother's Embrace. These are in the common bracket, which means you will see them pretty often, but not as often as you're going to see things like this. So whereas you might find 12 Blood Artisan Curioses, in that same time period, you might only find, say, 2 or 3 Wind Forces, which makes them a little bit more rare. Personally, I found quite a few Frostburns, but that's because I found Frostburns on multiple characters, and it's a non-class specific item. So that's going to make this one a little bit more common than something like Gore's Devastating Grips, which is class specific, because that's going to only obviously be found on the Barbarian, whereas the Frostburns can be found on all characters. Next is the rare uniques. So these are the uniques that seem to be weighted the worst in terms of drop rate, and they may be ones that you might be having trouble getting your hands on. These are things like Ring of Mendeln, Temerity, Storm's Companion, Cowl of the Nameless, the Tempest Roar, Fists of Fate, Razorplate, Isidora's Overflowing Cameo, Overkill, Hellhammer, Flamescar, Black River, and Ashira's Kanjar. These are ones that have the highest weight in terms of drop rate. And if you're wondering what the weight is, according to the calculations that have been pulled out of the game, the common items, according to the calculations, have a weight of 800,000. Which I do not know why it is such a high number. The ultra commons. The common items have a weight of 600,000. The rare items have a weight of 400,000. So roughly half the drop rate of the ultra commons. So you may have a little bit of trouble getting your hands on some of the more ultra common ones. You might have to farm for a little while longer, but they're not like ridiculously hard to get your hands on. It's just they're a lot more difficult to get your hands on than, say, like a Bloodless Scream. In fact, I've found way too many Bloodless Screams, but I've only found like 2 Black Rivers, if that gives you a kind of an understanding. Now, there is one very rare item, and you might be wondering what the hell this is. Well, it's in the files, and it has a weight of... of 100, which is very strange. It is apparently a ring, and it is not a good ring. It is actually... It is actually a ring that has a horrible debuff on it that basically removes all of your resource. It sounds like a cursed item. Not even sure if it's actually in the game, but according to the files, it does have a weight of 100, which is probably something that nobody's ever going to actually find. If you do, you might not even keep it, because according to what it just looks like a piece of junk. Like it's apparently got basically no stats on it. It has like 6 all stats, so it's like basically nothing. And it has no other affixes except for the fact that it will literally remove all of your resource if you put it on. So just randomly, as a lucky hit event, it will just randomly pull your resource away. And this one is weighted at 100. Now we have the uber rare items, and the uber rare items have a weight of 1. Yes, you heard correctly. 1. So while the ultra commons have a weight of 800,000, the commons have a weight of 600,000. The rares have a weight of 400,000. The very rare has a weight of 100, which is 10 times higher than the ultra rares. The uber rares has a weight of 1. And there are only 6 items in the uber rare category, and that is the Ring of the Starless Skies, the Harlequin, Crest, Shako, the Andriel's Visage, the Melted Heart of Selig, the Grandfather, and the Doombringer. Now, if you guys have been living under a rock, you may have missed our tool that Proner and I developed so that you can find, at least have a better chance of finding these uniques. If you go to Diablo4.life and you click on Tools up here and you go to Unique Target Farming, you can actually choose the place where you want to farm your item. So let's take one of these uber rare items, or not uber rares, because the uber rares, I have a feeling that no matter, even if you target farm, it's just going to be up to pure random chance. Yes, you can increase your chances, obviously, by target farming these, but it's not going to be like it's going to be a guaranteed thing. It's going to be like, wow, I won the lottery kind of a thing. But let's go to the rares. which are more common. So let's say I wanted to get my hands on a Razor Plate, which is a pretty common one for people who want to do Thorns builds. Or maybe I want to get my hands on a Tempest Roar, you know, something like that. I could search on here and put in the Tempest Roar. So the Tempest Roar is, I think it's this one. Oh, that's Cowl the Nameless. Deathless Visage. There's the Tempest Roar. So we can click on the Tempest Roar, and it's going to tell us the best places to farm, like, you know, for the increased drop rate for helmets. So if you guys are unaware of how this works, it's very simple. It's extremely simple. Classes of monsters like cultists, cannibals, bandits, beasts, drowned, etc. have specifically increased drop rates for certain base items. Cannibals and cultists have increased base drop rate for helmets. So if you're trying to get your hands on a Tempest Roar, farming a place like Serpent's Lair, or Conclave, or Earthen Wound can be a way to increase the potential drop rate of helmets, which could also potentially increase the potential drop rate of, obviously, the Tempest Roar. And Vasily's Prayer, which, if you take a look at the list, I'm pretty sure Vasily's Prayer is on the Ultra Common. As you can see here, it is in the Ultra Common weight category, which is why most of the time when you get a unique helmet, it's Vasily's Prayer, because Vasily's Prayer is so much more common than Tempest Roar. Tempest Roar is in the rare category, so it drops a lot less often than the other. This may also help you understand, honestly, which ones are better to get your hands on, better to keep, so to speak. Like knowing that, for instance, like Fields of Crimson is ridiculously common, which is in here. This one right here is ridiculously common, right? So you're gonna see like 10, 20 Fields of Crimson as you level up your Barbarian. It's not a big deal, right? But knowing that something like the Hellhammer or Overkill or the Razor Plate are less common might have you actually hold on to those instead of scrapping them, you know, because you might not find another one as easily. You probably will eventually, but you might not find one as easily as you're going to find, like, friggin' 12 Blood Artisan Curiosas, that's for sure. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it. I just wanted to go over with you, like, the rarity and the quality of how much you get these items, and kind of, like, also highlight which ones are the rarest. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching my videos, and as always, keep watching.